My name is Daniel Dazi. Let's take the details. And the Paramount Queen of Obuasi has allegedly rejected a truckload of 60 sheep and other items, including money from government officials, to let go the dispute between her and the newly installed Paramount chief. The executive secretary to the president, Midday Asante, is said to have led government's delegation to do the presentation of items to the Queen Mother. My colleague, Kofi Siao, joins us with more. Kofi, give us the background to this story. What brought about this dispute in the first place?
Okay, so for some time now, there's been a dispute between the Paramount Queen in the area and the current chief, Nana Kwesi Ekufu, who was recently installed. The dispute that has been taking place or ensued for some time now is whether the current chief, Nana Kwesi Ekufu, is the legitimate chief of the area, and another candidate that was proposed by the Paramount Queen of the area. So the case was taken to the Regional House of Chiefs, and the Regional House of Chiefs ruled that the one proposed by the Paramount Queen is not qualified to be the chief of the area.
Right.
It's supposed to be the current one, Nana Kwesi Ekufu. Okay. So it has been a dispute between the Queen Mother and the current chief, that is, who also has the backing of the Abuesia of the community. But recently, some rituals or some traditional activities were performed to ensure that Nana Kwesi Ekufu, who has the backing of the Abuesia, got the nod to become the paramount chief of the area. So this has been going on for some time, and we heard that today the executive secretary of the president, Nana Midday, led a team of government officials to the Paramount Queen, ostensibly to ask her to let go the dispute between her and the current chief of the area. So they presented, they came with 60 sheep, that is what we know, and bottles of schnapps, some amount of money, and some other items to the Queen Mother. But the Queen Mother rejected the offer given to her by the government officials. That is what we're learning for now.
Great. Kofi, let's backtrack a moment. Do we know if government is actually supporting any of the candidates in this dispute?
Well, we cannot tell that for a fact.
Right.
But when the whole issue started, we heard rumors, there was speculation that government was supporting one of the candidates.
Which one?
Current one.
The one currently installed.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. That is what we heard, but we cannot say that for a fact.
Right. So what does this mean now that the sheep has been rejected? What does it mean?
Well, Daniel, let me also say that there is another twist to the story.
Okay.
Let me also say that the information we also getting from the side of government is that it is rather the Queen Mother who requested for those items.
Right.
Because the government was trying to, settle the dispute between the two factions.
Right.
So it is rather the Queen Mother who opted for those items. And that can also, for now, not be established. We still have to look into the issue.
Kofi, there's obviously so much of the story that we still have to gather, so we'll leave you to go back and do that so that we can come back and paint a clearer picture of this entire issue. Thank you so much for bringing us these updates.
Exactly,
Kofi Siao is our man in the Eastern region. You're still live here on Joy News today with me, Daniel Dazi. There's a lot more coming up in the bulletin, including these members of parliament. Let's go there now. Now, samples of members of parliament have been taken for coronavirus testing. This took place in parliament this morning, with a good number of them submitting themselves for mass testing. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, our man in parliament, has more.
Joining us live right now as far as the various testing processes are concerned. So just to give us a sense, when the MPs and the staff come around here, what exactly happens?
Simply go through the registration process. From the registration process, you go and your sample is picked, and then that's it.
Okay. When you say sample is picked, what exactly do they take from the
individual? They take a swab from your throat, that's all. The whole process takes less than 5 minutes. When your results are ready, Noguchi communicates that to the appropriate persons. One of the key things to winning the COVID-19 battle is to test and test a lot more. So we are chasing the disease condition. Okay, so we chase it, we catch it, and we treat. That's all. And as you can see, several of them have already come and tested, and a lot more will come through.
Just to give us a sense, what does the numbers look like? You know, about how many people are you expecting will eventually go through the processes as far as the testing is concerned?
In Parliament, we have 275 MPs, and we have probably about another 400 staff. So yes, we're probably looking at everybody coming through to test.
In terms of the necessary guidance and counseling and the processes to ensure that even if people test positive here in the House, there's no panic and they're adequately treated. How is the medical officer in Parliament helping with any process like that?
The National COVID Management Team, those who do case management, those who do surveillance and all. So yes, we are doing the testing. I don't even know who gets treated and who doesn't get treated at the end of the day. So that is normally between the testing laboratories and the National COVID Management Team. And I think as a country, we are doing well. So if anybody is picked, the normal protocols will just be triggered and they will go through it and that will be fine.
Still in Parliament, the House is debating for approval the report from the Appointments Committee on the vetting of the 4 Supreme Court Justice nominees. Last week, Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, Joni Kolendi, Jackson Honyenuga and Ibrahim Tanko appeared before Parliament's Appointments Committee to be quizzed for the position of Supreme Court Justice. The committee has presented its reports to the plenary and the debate is currently underway on the floor of the House. Let's take you live there for a bit of the debate. And we just saw the Minister for Communications, Esther Usekufo, take her seat. She just finished her submission. Let's join the feed.
The leaders conclude in 5 minutes. Please.
I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to very quickly draw attention to a few corrections in the report. Page 3, the second paragraph, the nominee was treasurer of the Bar Association, not treasurer. It should be treasurer of the Bar Association. Page 23 of the report, Mr. Speaker, the institution is the Ghana Armed Forces Staff College. Senior should be deleted accordingly. And still on that page, under responses to questions, the first line, the first sentence should be visualizes. And finally, at page 27, item number 13, the court needs a mastery. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to effect these corrections. I must commend the chairman of the committee and the clerk for carrying out a very, very judicious work, including the ranking member, my own minority leader, who I know has spent days and a lot of man hours in putting this report together. Mr. Speaker, the nominees who appeared before us, as has been said, was quite a fine balance. 2 from the appeals court being promoted, 1 a practitioner of many years, and the 4th person, an academic who is very rich in criminal jurisprudence, as we have been told by many of the students who Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu taught. Mr. Speaker, the matter which I believe that should begin to engage the attention of this House is that some nominees, I observed during the vetting, that they were quite hesitant to provide answers because they did not want to be rendered impotent, as one of the nominees said, because they fear that if they provide an answer and a case is subsequently brought before them at the Supreme Court, that may create some bias, and applicants may say they should recuse themselves. I believe that, Mr. Speaker, moving forward, we should encourage nominees to be as free-minded. I have watched these proceedings in other jurisdictions, and they state they make their case, they state their points, they indicate their philosophies without prejudice to whatever case may come before them. I think that we should we want to really know thoroughly what these nominees stand for and what their positions are. And nothing prevents them from even changing their mind when they assume the role, if given the nod. So I think that, Mr. Speaker, that matter really moving forward, will have to engage the attention of this House so that nominees can be as free as possible to put across their arguments and their philosophies. For example, matters to do with gay rights, we should know. Matters to do with the position on abortion and certain provisions so far as human rights are concerned and all of that. I think that we should not see any restrictions at all. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, the nominees generally, as has been said, did acquit themselves creditably. They brought up issues that should really engage our minds. For example, Professor Harita Mensah Bonsu reminded us that they are done with their work so far as the Ayawaso Commission report is concerned, but that it was up to Parliament to then follow up and ensure that there is executive oversight and that the executive implements the recommendations, especially portions in the government white paper, which have been accepted. I think that as a House, we should take that counsel from the respected Professor Harita Mensah Bonsu in good faith and carry out our mandate, especially as we have an election, a major election, just 6 months ahead of us. We must implement full recommendations and learn lessons from the Ayawaso debacle so that that does not recur. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I must also indicate that the matter to do with temperament came up. The Justice Tanko responded to that matter very competently and was also in the position to take some of the background work we had done as feedback. And he did not hesitate at all to say that if he would have to improve on his temperament, he will do that so that he can get along with colleagues, particularly those he's going to work with on the Supreme Court. A similar matter came up with lawyer Yoni Kulendi as regards young lawyers, and I believe that that's a matter which, to the best of my knowledge, has been addressed, and I do not think that, for the record, anybody should be injured, whether the nominee or whether the young lawyers who I particularly sought to inquire about. And I hope that our records will reflect that this committee has not made any adverse finding against anybody as regards that matter.
And that was the Member of Parliament for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, speaking on the floor of Parliament. So how can these issues be fixed to enable the health personnel work smoothly? Head of Institutional Care at the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Samuel Kaba Korea, has some answers.
Very, very worried about these issues because sometimes we see them as daily occurrence, and not only because of the safety of our workers, but the safety of the community as well. You know, these confirmed cases live with their families, their brothers, their sisters, their loved ones, and friends. And please, if they really, really love their friends and their families, we are pleading with them to kindly cooperate. And we plead with the community to kindly cooperate because COVID-19 is everybody's business.
Would you move a step further to go engage these community leaders so that they can do the bidding for you?
Absolutely. We are engaging them through our structures. But of course, it's a constant thing we need, and we need everyone in the country, not only in the places we know, to start understanding that this is real and it is everybody's business.
What about the issue of contact tracers who are threatened? How are you going to protect contact tracers who are sometimes threatened by the people that they have to go and take the samples from?
We will do all our best to protect our workers. We even have, in certain instances, national security coming in. We have the security services coming in. We engage with the community leadership. But there is one thing, it's not only the contact tracers. We've even seen it abusing our ambulance service personnel. We've seen it in that, and we will keep the best protection we can get, if the community itself also realizes that we are working for them. And so we want the community once again to be strongly involved. Nonetheless, we are doing our best with our security services and agencies to make sure that our health workers are well protected.
All the best to all contact tracers and frontline workers out there.
We still stay on the subject of the resumptions of various leagues around the world, and one player and two staff at Watford and Burnley assistant manager Ian Bowen are among 6 positive Premier League tests for the coronavirus. Now the other two are at a third club, the details of which have not been revealed yet. Here's a report by Asari Bediako.
Players and staff who have tested positive will now self-isolate for 7 days. It comes as squads started non-contact training on Tuesday as the Premier League steps up plans for a restart. A total of 748 players and staff from 19 clubs were tested. Norwich City did their test on Tuesday. Watford confirmed the player and 2 members of staff had tested positive, but they would not be naming those involved as they had asked for medical confidentiality. Before the news about Watford's positive test emerged, Captain Troy Deeney said he would not return to training because he feared for his family's health. The Premier League has been suspended since March 13 because of the COVID-19 pandemic, with 92 fixtures remaining. The league had previously identified June 12 for matches to possibly start again, but there's now an expectation this will need to be pushed back.
That wraps it up for the sports here. We do have some more sports stories for you at 2 o'clock when we come your way with Sports Today live on the JoyNews channel. My name is Oreko Ampofo, and up next is World News.
Good afternoon, welcome to Showbiz here on JoyNews. Now, dancehall artist Stonebwoy has joined the Clash magazine and Water Aid UK in the fight against COVID-19 to help people stay healthy and wash their hands. On Monday, he performed in his bathroom, which was streamed live on Instagram to help raise funds for the project.
This is my first time performing in a bathroom sessions. Big ups to Clash magazine. Don't know, big ups to Clash magazine and big ups to Water Aid. People can't even find water in any part of the world, you know, to wash their hands. We're all fighting coronavirus right now, and I took up the challenge to represent for Ghana, to perform from my bathroom, you know, so that the monies that we're going to donate, they're going to go a long way to sort out people worldwide. Even if not specifically in Ghana, I know that the world at large needs us and one and all. So everywhere we gonna run.